Tristen Pfeifer here, Managing Director, Fundamental Income. Yep, private equity is buying a business. They'll call, direct lender or, mezz or senior, or wherever else might make sense in the capital stack. If there's real estate attached to it, they'll look at that as a unique kind of capital solution. At the end of the day, it's a different capital source for businesses that's much more attractive from a rate perspective and has a lot of flexibility.
Taking a little breather from a nice steep bump run. This is kind of a two-part question. When you're looking for deals, what kind of assets do y'all like? And then what's your engagement look like? Is it always from private equity?
A little bit different of a route, and I'll keep it brief, but
no.
So I
don't.
I was playing hockey, and I had an opportunity. I got listed in with a team in a league called the WHL. It's a major junior hockey league, the biggest feeder to the NHL. So
got it.
Everett Silvertips is the team. Go Tips!
Like we were talking offline, I know what you do. We've usually never gone that deep.
Yep.
So I'm like selfishly learning also.
Yep.
And then hopefully somebody watching this takes away something cool. And if nothing else, they get to see our mugs on LinkedIn. Tristan, you want to introduce yourself to the people?
Yep, Tristen Pfeifer here, Managing Director, Fundamental Income. Just out for a great day on the slopes with my good friend Reese here.
What is Fundamental Income? What do y'all do?
Yeah, we go to market as a real estate investment platform. And most people hear that and think that we're buying multifamily buildings or multiple tenant or kind of more traditional real estate stuff, which is kind of the opposite actually. So what we do is we try to find good middle market businesses that we can underwrite and really understand and invest into, and kind of using the vehicle of real estate to do that. So it's a lot more differentiated of an approach, kind of more like a private credit investment, where we're in the weeds on the business, understanding what's important to sponsors, creating kind of a bespoke solution for them that we can help create a more attractive capitalized business.
For a non-real estate brain, I think that makes sense on the surface, but I've heard y'all explain some of the offerings almost like alternative capital to a certain degree.
Yep.
Can you talk to what that means?
Yeah, so a lot of our deal flow comes in from, sponsors that are buying a business that has real estate attached to it. So just in the same way that, sponsors buying
private equity sponsor.
Yep, private equity is buying a business. They'll call, direct lender or, mezz or senior, or wherever else might make sense in the capital stack. If there's real estate attached to it, they'll look at that as a unique kind of capital solution where they can, sell the real estate to us at closing, strike a long-term lease. Effectively, we're creditors to the business and have a long-term relationship in place where we're able to help. And we structure these things in a differentiated way that we think, at least, with the ability to expand the facilities if they need to, the ability to sub facilities out of a master lease if they're not working out the way that the private equity sponsor originally thought. So really, at the end of the day, it's a different capital source for businesses that's much more attractive from a rate perspective and has a lot of flexibility.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting because you're offloading an asset from the balance sheet, right?
Yep.
And then you're accessing additional funds that you otherwise would have been locked up.
Yeah, and I think it's important to, one interesting thing about it, a lot of people hear that and then think they're losing control of their real estate. Really, at the end of the day, it's a 20-year lease where they have control of what they want to do with it. If they want to, like I said, make expansions or changes, they have control to do that. It's has some flexibility built into it where we understand these businesses change over time, and they need, differentiate different things that they might need from the real estate.
Like, what would it look like from a flexible perspective whenever you're writing up the contract? You're like a long-term partner to them, so if they want to expand, y'all are putting up the capital to do that, or how does that arrangement work?
Yeah, it can kind of take different forms depending on how the sponsor wants to do it, right? So more capital results in more rent, right? So some Some private equity groups are more cognizant of that, depending on EBITDA multiples and, kind of.
But y'all would put up the money
Yeah.
in a scenario like
Yeah.
that.
So if it's like, 100,000 square foot facility, maybe it's a food manufacturing business.
Yeah.
And they're at capacity, they need another 50,000 square feet. They call us and we put up the
Really?
capital to expand it.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then at the end of the day, their rent just goes up and, and hopefully that makes the business healthier. Really, at the end of the day, it's like just how sponsors like to work with certain lenders because they, answer the phone when they call, more of a white glove approach. I think a lot of people think sale-leasebacks are more vanilla and straightforward, and
Right.
we love that people think that because it differentiates us quite a bit.
Yeah.
Because it's a really flexible product where we can, help solve, people's problems at the end of the day.
Yeah. This is kind of a two-part question.
Okay.
When you're looking for deals, what kind of assets do y'all like? And then what's your engagement look like? Is it always from private equity? Is it sometimes the banking community or like founder, family-owned businesses?
So I'll answer the second question first. So we get deal flow kind of across the board. There will be, folks that are involved from an advisory perspective, whether it's investment bankers, or the relationships that bring it to us. A lot of times it's direct from private equity relationships where we're people that we know and have worked on deals in the past.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of similar to probably your business where, just more people you meet and do a good job for and kind of overpromise or underpromise and overdeliver.
Yeah.
You get more referrals and kind of business starts to roll that way. So kind of comes in the door a lot of different ways, sometimes, shockingly different ways, but we're open to however they come in and we're open to however the deals look. And then to answer your question on what we like and what we don't like, at the end of the day, what we're really focused on is finding real estate that is mission critical for the business. So whether that's an industrial building that's, 1 million square feet in the middle of nowhere that needs to be there because of its access to, raw supplies, maybe a cheese manufacturer that's close to the dairy, right?
Yep.
Something like that. Or it could be a well-located car wash that just, does really well, that's located in an area that needs to be there. So mission criticality is what we look for. We're pretty agnostic on what we look at. So it could be anything from fitness gyms to restaurants, industrial facilities. We've looked at like vineyards before, stuff like that. Ski mountains as an example. And at the end of the day, just kind of, single tenant real estate, quote unquote, where the business can't operate without it.
Got it.
Is really the lens.
We could probably get a market update question. Like what are y'all seeing in the market right now?
Yeah.
What's interesting to y'all?
It's a good question. So we had a unique kind of situation in the market last year. I know we talked about it, but we transacted last year.
Yep. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, we were originally kind of seed funded by Brookfield Asset Management, and we're working with them for about 5 years, and then decided to go to market. Ended up transacting with Starwood Capital, which actually held underneath Starwood Property Trust, publicly traded mortgage REIT. So during that process, a little bit unique of a year last year for us from a deal flow, business development perspective. That obviously took a lot of the team's attention. And since then, we've kind of just been right back at it. And Starwood definitely bought us for the growth, the access to the relationships we have, the way that we think through these deals. So they just want us to do a lot more, which is great. It's a great thing for us. So now we're back in the market. I think M&A has really picked up. I don't know if you're seeing the same thing, but we're starting to see a lot more SIMs bouncing around, a lot more businesses willing to transact, and that comes with a lot more real estate. So we've been busy. It's been a really great start to the year, and hopefully keeps going.
Whew. Taking a little breather from a nice steep bump run. My last question to you, I think, or off the end of that, was in different market environments, are people coming to you with like a strategy of what they want to accomplish, or is it usually like, we know we have the real estate, let's see what we can kind of put together?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'd say most of the time it's, they have the real estate, let's see what we can do. But in different market environments, when you have rates that are high or low, and cap rates, tend to follow rates, and they're not perfectly correlated, but they tend to follow them.
They're pretty close.
Yeah, there's a correlation, but it's not exact. So like a lot of times people call us and say, hey, the interest rate's down by X. What's your cap rate? It's not exactly how it works. Obviously, cap rates are much more based on credit risk and real estate, location, and all that kind of stuff. But So yeah, different market environments can create different solutions that folks need depending on LBOs, or a lot of times we get calls when businesses need to pay down debt or need some sort of liquidity as well. So it can also be a product to kind of reinvigorate a business that maybe has hit some headwinds.
Yep. In terms of, like, you mentioned rates, I'm assuming you're meaning like just traditional bank debt.
Yep.
Are y'all usually competitive, or like beating, or like how would you explain where y'all fit into the market there?
Yeah, it's not always apples to apples. A lot of people will call us and say, hey, we're getting SOFR plus X, and that's lower than your cap rate or whatever. It's not perfect. So on a sale-leaseback, think about it as 100% financing, right? So it's whatever the cap rate is, that is the exact rate on that cost of capital. Now with a senior debt facility or a mortgage, you obviously have the cost of equity and the cost of debt. So the cost of debt is an interest rate, and the cost of equity is a lot of times in the high teens and 20s. So if you compare that to a sale-leaseback, 9 times out of 10 we're going to be more.
You can just strip that piece out. Basically,
exactly, because it's 100% LTV.
Got it. Yeah.
So a lot of the times, 9 times out of 10, we're going to be an accretive financing solution. One other way to think about it is on an EBITDA multiple perspective. So just in quick math, the inverse of a cap rate is the same as a multiple, right? So if you're doing a deal at an 8 cap, that's a roughly 12.5 times multiple. So if you're buying a business for less than 12.5 times, and you can do a cap rate for 8 or something even better, then that's accretive, right?
Got it.
Does that make sense?
No.
Okay.
But someone will get it.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah. I'm following. I like quick math like that. I need a
multiple arbitrage.
Calculator.
Yeah.
Shifting gears to the personal side, how'd you find yourself in your seat? Did you come out of college like straight into it, or what was your route?
A little bit different of a route, and I'll keep it brief. But so I don't. So after high school, I didn't go to college right away. I was playing hockey, and I had an opportunity. I got listed in with a team in a league called the WHL. It's a major junior hockey league. And just the quick cliff notes on it. So you actually get paid to play. You lose your college eligibility. It's the biggest feeder to the NHL. So most NHL players that you hear of, a lot of them are coming through that league.
Skipping college, going like straight into
it. It's a little bit different now with all the NIL stuff. But anyway, at the time, I was fortunate and had the opportunity to go do that. So I went,
awesome.
Lived in, it was really cool. I was actually the only American on my team, so it was me and a bunch of Canadians and Russians. I didn't know a soul when I showed up there.
Where were you?
Everett, Washington was the town.
So in the United States.
Yeah, Everett Silvertips is the team. Go Tips.
Nice.
But it was an awesome experience being 17-year-old kid and trying to figure out how to speak Russian with a bunch of guys and be the only American and play in front of thousands of fans. It was really cool. That's I enjoyed that a lot. I definitely was not one of the good hockey players. I played with a lot of good hockey players, but I was not one of them. Hence the sale-leaseback world. So I played 2 years there. Unfortunately, at the end of my second year, I had a pretty major concussion that kind of took me out. More, I'd say, from a place of caution than necessity, but didn't want to mess with that. So anyway, long story short, I didn't really have a traditional college experience because I did that for 2 years, did online college while I was there, and then kind of just finished up college at a small school in Phoenix called Grand Canyon University. This brings me to the whole story, but reason I wanted to get into some sort of high level finance. My family's been in it for a long time. I knew that was always a world I wanted to be in, and I realized I needed to do something different than kind of graduate from a smaller school that doesn't have the same name as a lot of the folks that we work with.
Sure, yeah.
So I did the CFA program. Not sure if you're familiar with that.
No.
Chartered Financial Analyst. It's like relatively hard, well looked upon. And when I was doing that, I learned a lot about alternative investments. I really liked the idea of real estate, private equity, or hedge funds. Just through a cold email, got connected with my now CEO. Thought he was just an awesome guy that I really respected his career trajectory so far, and wanted to hitch my wagon to whatever he was doing. And that's kind of how I fell into it. And we talked about the business side of it earlier, but I just find what we do is a really interesting intersection between credit and real estate, relationships with people, all that stuff. So long story short, it's all I've ever done professionally, other than hockey, obviously. And I really like it. So hope to do it for a while. I got a question for you, Reese.
I'll try.
About 3 years
Not good
doing
at talking.
this. And as an avid viewer, I think it's been a while since you've been able to address the viewers.
Yes.
I think this has really taken off, and I think it's turned into something really cool. But just curious how you've seen this progress. Maybe something you want to tell the viewers of what you've seen this turn into, what you hope they get out of it, and kind of just give a word to the viewers.
Dude, I'm not in the hot seat ever. This is a weird spot to be in.
You got to do it.
So I actually have a lot to say about it because somebody found me on LinkedIn, private equity firm, or individual at a private equity firm, and then he kind of shared it around his firm, and they're kind of interested in doing some marketing. They had me in to do a lunch and learn for them and just talk about like what the journey was. So I actually really have like a prepared thought about this.
Cool.
That's like way too long of an answer, but to try to like be like to the point about it. I started it because I really wanted to just do something creative that was adjacent for my job. I've always sort of had like the itch to do side projects, and this one was really aligned. So that's kind of how it started. Like I was posting on LinkedIn and people were seeing it and telling me that they were seeing my pictures, and then I saw a video function on there and I was like, I know how to make videos. Maybe I'll try to build something around that. And unlike a lot of other ideas I've had in the past, I wanted it to be broad enough that it could show me what direction it wanted to go, or like what I want it to be. And your question's like, what do you want it to be? I think it's just evolving, and I'm allowing it to just become whatever kind of all the viewers want it to be, or like all my guests sort of like drive it in the direction of, and just being very open to that is like freeing too, because like, look, we're on the ski mountain and a lot of them are in golf carts, and a lot of people think that it's like a golf show. And it's really not. It's a M&A community show in any kind of function. It just so happens that we're at a lot of conferences where there's golf happening, and it's easy spot to do that. But no, I mean, I've seen it progress in terms of like, I'm doing all the editing, some of my capabilities have gotten better, but also just like, now that there's a cadence to it and there's a little bit of a track record, people believe that it's actually a thing, and a lot of people are seeing it. And so there's a lot more receptiveness now to like doing it with me. And I get a lot of inbound asks too, to like be on the show, which is really nice.
That's awesome.
I don't know. I could go on and on for like hours probably. But.
Well, as a viewer, I think it's just cool to learn a lot more about what people do. It's like you get to know people, as we were talking offline, but you get to know people and you know kind of where they work and roughly what they do. But 100%. These videos are awesome because you take a few minutes out of your day, see some mountains or a nice golf course, and hear what people actually do, and I find it really valuable. So thanks for doing this.
I appreciate that, dude. Man. Well, and like on my side too, in my seat, like we were talking offline, I know what you do, but when I start actually asking you questions, we've usually never gone that deep. So I'm like selfishly learning also. And then hopefully somebody watching this takes away something cool, and if nothing else, they get to see our mugs on LinkedIn and like, laugh at us being silly.
So awesome, buddy. That was awesome. Appreciate it.